Welcome everyone. In this video we're going to take a look at how to hang an IKEA wall cabinet. The instructions are a little unclear. They don't put any words, any explanation. All they do is show pictures, and well, sometimes those pictures are less than adequate. So I'm going to show you each step of the way. The cabinet's already built, but I'm just going to go through how to actually hang it and things we have to be aware of. So the first thing that you see is this empty corner, and they want you to put corner brackets in that. That's going to go in just like that. Sometimes it needs a little persuasion, but there we go. So you can see there is one of those at each corner. Now the next thing we have to do is prepare this bracket. At least that's what I'm doing. Before I put anything up on the wall, I want to make sure all of my pieces fit. Since this is a double wide cabinet, we're going to have to hook two of these together. There's a picture in the directions, and it shows two of those hooking together. So let's see exactly what that looks like. There's my piece, and there's the additional piece. And it just shows it as snapping, but I kind of suspect I have to push it that way to click it. I need two hands, so let me set this down. Okay, the idea was right, but it slid that way. So I pushed it down and then slid this little piece over. So now we'll do it again with its mate. Let's see if we can do this with one hand. Push that down, and then we slide it into place. There we go. Little clumsy, but it worked. Now let's see what this is going to look like when it's in place. So assuming that this is the back of the wall, this is what you're going to see. So these holes that go straight through the cabinet will line up with these holes on the bracket, and over on this side as well. When everything's in place, this is what it will look like. Of course, we're looking at it as if we are the wall. This is what's going to be attached to the wall. Now what we have to pay attention to is how far down is the top of the cabinet to the top of that bracket, because that is going to be significant. That tells us where I have to hang this from where we mark the top of the cabinet on the wall. And it looks to me like that distance is 1.5 inches. Now notice it's 1.5 inches to this surface, not the overall edge. It's 1.5 inches to this surface, because that lip that we're looking at hides underneath there. So that's how it's going to hang. And I'm not really concerned with how far away this is from the edge, because that should line up if we get the center right. If the center is in the right location, both that end and this end should line up. And as you can see, that gap is 3 inches, maybe just a sliver under. So I have to make sure that I mark that center accurately. And there is my 3-inch mark, or 1.5 inches, center 3 inches. So I know my drop down is 1.5 inches from where I want the top of the cabinet to be, and I know where my center is going to be. So now I can measure it on the wall. On the directions, they tell you to hold the cabinet up and draw a pencil around it. I prefer just to measure. I can find my center, I can put my level up, I can draw a line, and I'm all set. Once I get all my measurements done, I have it marked off on the wall. I want to, if possible, put those screws directly into the stud. To make sure, I drilled a sample pilot hole. When I pulled it out, I checked to make sure that there was wood on the bit and I wasn't simply going through drywall. You can usually tell by the force that the drill bit is taking as well. If it's just going through drywall, it just goes through like butter. Once it hits that wood, you can feel it has a little more resistance. So anyways, I know where the stud is. Once I know where one stud is, I know where all the rest are, because they're going to be 16 inches apart, 16 inches on center. So here's what I'm going to do now. I know where that one screw is going to go because I know where my bracket is going to be and I know where the stud is. So I mark that screw. Now I'm going to measure over and see how many more openings will line up with studs. Wouldn't you know it? There's a marking for one stud. The other one falls right about here, so I don't have any bracket to hang that on. And the next one is there. This isn't a real heavy cabinet, so I'm going to get good solid screws through the area where there are studs. And then I'm just going to put a few drywall anchors in 2 or 3 other places just to make sure I have additional support. There are my brackets. Let's get a closer look. So you can see this one that comes with the IKEA, that kind of square washer looking device. And we see a similar thing over here. Those are both going directly into the studs. The other ones are support screws, and those are going into plastic drywall anchors. Time to hang the cabinet. Now this is probably a 2-man job. This cabinet isn't that heavy. I think I can handle it myself, so I'll have at it. It doesn't look too bad. Only took me a minute or two, a little clumsy. I just put it against the wall and let it slide right down. Now we have to make sure all of those screw holes line up. Okay, it looks like that one's pretty much dead on. That one is a little off, but I think I have enough latitude to get the screw in. That one looks pretty good. And that one looks pretty good. So this screw and washer holds it in place in each of the 4 corners. And finally we have these little covers that snap right over them. Just makes it a little more visually pleasing. And that's all there is to it. And there's only one thing left to do. And that's to put on the doors. I held off on the doors until the cabinet was up because it'd be much lighter, easier to work with. I didn't want to be bumping into doors, just having doors get in the way. So I didn't put the doors on right away, but I'll do that now. And I think I'll save that for part 2. So I hope that helps you in hanging your Besta cabinets from IKEA. I know there are different types and different types of hangers, but for the most part, this one, if you're buying the Besta brand, is pretty universal across their cabinet line. Thanks for watching. I'm Mark with the Average Me channel.
Well, you made it to the end, and you found the secret message. Alright, it's not really secret. I just want you to like, share, and subscribe. And click that bell icon so you know when we post new videos. I salute you.